Hi, it's like 5 a.m. for me right now. This is I recorded this a little bit ago, as in like 5 minutes ago. But I am working on a video, but I just kind of read the spoiler post and I just kind of want to make it known to more people what's being worked on and stuff like that, especially this Forge one. I talk a lot about it, but enjoy me rambling or something. Okay, in case for those of you who don't know, Nigel posts leaks for, or like, I guess not leaks, but it's like spoilers, you know, of what's coming up. So, you know, there's like the things that are on public testing right now, Forge changes, you know, ST sets, alternate weapons, and you know, all this stuff that they're usually working on. But what I would like to bring your attention to is this section about Forge changes. So I'll just read out the notes for you now. So Forge changes. Legendary items that require 4 items or 60 legendary material will require up to 2 items from the original dungeon. 3 items, or like in the case of 3 items or 45 legendary material, they will require 1. O3 mini bosses will only require 1 though. And then for some reason gemstone needs 2 despite being a 3 item to forge, or like a 45 legendary. And then fungal and cave dweller need 1 even though they are 4 items or 60, and which could be a mistake on their part, which is likely, you know, though gemstone is very strong, so I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. Marks are no longer required for forging legendary items, and apparently ST forge might be a thing, but he says it's unlikely. So why am I talking about this? So I would like to bring a few things to mention. So let's start with this. Let's start with the marks. Well, let's start with 2 birds, 1 stone. We'll start with marks, and we'll tackle this top one where some of the items don't actually need all of the items to be it. So basically, a lot of people that I know have been complaining about how they can't forge any of the shatters items anymore because they've either ran out of king marks, or they can't complete new shatters. So what this means for, let's say, shatters in particular, means you don't need the mark, but that means you can go into a shatters and clear for armors that drop just in the village. So you don't even need to kill any of the bosses, and you can get an armor. And so long as you have the blueprint for any of the things, which you can get through the Tinkerer or an event that they do, you can get you can just forge any of the items from shatters without ever completing, because you no longer have to use marks. Which, you know, the fact that these are, you know, in the works doesn't mean that these are set in stone, but it's heavily exploitable. Like, heavily exploitable. Like, I just, like, stated one way you can exploit the system, right? You can forge shatters stuff without ever going to any of the bosses. You just need to clear the first area, which is not very hard. I'm hoping that this is a mistake, because I'd rather not use 2 shatters items to forge gemstones, because gemstones are my favorite ring at the moment. Actually, it's not my, well, I don't know, it's up there. But it is very strong, but I'm not sure if I would use 2 to forge. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about which forge is even used for. Cause basically, this is the closest that the absolute closest thing we've ever gotten to a pity system, basically. Outside of like the orcs, like the orc stuff that you trade in for the tinker, like the abilities and stuff like that. This is like the closest thing we've ever gotten to a pity system. And so there should be a better pity system than the Forge, I agree, because the Forge is very strong as it stands right now, so long as you can complete the dungeon. But having... I at least know my one friend can't get Void Whites or NBC, just period. And it's really funny to me, because, you know, I kind of grind this game a lot, but it's very sad that it's very RNG dependent to get the whites that people need or want. Like, I know one of my friends was trying to grind for a sea shield and just like went without a white in fungal for like 300, and that seems overkill. Like, that's way overkill. So, you know, it kind of makes sense that you could probably just grind 4 legendary items, and then, like, 4 as an FOR, not the number 4. Grind 4 legendary items, and then be able to do that, because that's, like, just a pity system. But at the same time, you could probably do something with marks that could probably work just as well. Like, I feel like if you get the marks that proves that you got the completions, you know, I feel like it's kind of backwards, that you need to, because, like, the thing is, like, there's a lot of people who, like, kept shatters marks from the old shatters, and they've been forging shatters items, which in itself is, you know, just kind of the way that the forge system is built is exploitable right now. But if you have, like, let's say you collect 16 marks, right? A full 2 inventories worth of shatters marks. And it's like, what if you get, like, no whites from the 16? Then it's like, okay, yeah, I have the 16, and maybe I have extra whites that I'm willing to use to do it. But instead, it's like, okay, then even then, you don't even need, like, for, like, shatters, you technically don't even need them. I don't know, it's like, it's such a weird system, but right now, the way that they're setting this up, it's heavily RNG based, which, like, is going against, like, the pity system that we want. And extremely exploitable. At least in my opinion, I think it is very exploitable. So at least you will need to do the dungeons to get the whites, but at the same time, if you've already had the whites, then the damage is done. So I don't know, honestly, if I'm being honest. Like, I think they should do things more with the marks instead of requiring items from the dungeon, because of just the fact that you can exploit it. And the thing is, if they up the amount of marks, then the people who are currently like abusing the current system, they will, like, burn out way quicker and they'll need to do more. But at the same time, vault space is not forgiving. So if there was, like, a way to track how many, like, well, obviously there are ways to track it in game, but, like, across your account, you know, maybe that could be a thing. So it's like an account basis where it's like, if your account has done, like, 400 voids and has nothing to show for it, maybe there should be a pity system for that. But I'm not sure if the Forge in its current state or the planned state are the way to go with it. I think as it is right now, the Forge is doing all right as being a pity system, but I think it's way too strong. But considering the alternatives, I don't think there, at least this alternative, I don't think there would be a good way, because it's just RMG based. Like, I'm sure most of the people that will hear this video knows of at least one of their friends or someone they've met who just can't seem to get a white from the dungeon they've been grinding. Which alternatively, they could just up the drop rate, you know? Especially because someone said this to me, and I can't help but agree, but COVID did kind of carry the hell out of Realm, considering they didn't put too much out. Like, their output was minimal, but their, like, engagement was very high, and that's just because people weren't really doing anything else with their free time, you know, not much else to do. But now that people are, you know, can't grind this game as constantly, and it's like, you know, it's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe they should just up the drop rates, if I'm being honest. If like the forge changes, like if the forge cannot be balanced as well as it should be, maybe they just should increase the drop rates. Because at that point, then people will have the items. They don't have to grind to get RNG luck, which they can get lucky, but not like you have to get like 25% more lucky for the white you need. I don't actually, that percentage is wrong. Don't listen to that. But with people like not having as much free time, I think it is warranted. I know if you hang around Septruth's stream a lot, you'll know that his view on foraging is very strong, but he also has an insane amount of legendary items that he can forge, because he also has an insane amount of hours on this time. What the fuck? Insane amount of hours on the game, not on the time. So I get it does make sense, his view, based off of his, like, you know, stance? No, not stance. Circumstance. That's what it is. But like, for a lot of other people, it is kind of just like shitty. And I think that if they increase the forge, or not increase the forge, increase drop rates, it will kind of solve the needing of a pity system as hard as like Realm kind of needs. So yeah, that's my quick little 12-minute rant about just this forge change they're planning. I'm not sure how I feel about the stacking changes. The stacking changes is nice, but I'm not sure if I agree with the effusion changes. So, I mean, it lasts for longer, but like I think the burst of changes instead of like the consistency, because like we have like effusions for like the really strong short burst, but then we have like the nil drops and Xmas Christmas consumables for like the longer duration. So I don't know, like this may not be a huge increase in duration, but I'm not sure if I would like to see this. I kind of enjoy the fact that people can do a crazy amount of stuff with an insane stat boost for a very short amount of time. I think that is a very nice concept that I would rather not see get touched. But the stacking changes, I think that should be fixed or worked on, because Bard kind of ignores debuffs from things. I've certainly used speed nil drops and speed Xmas consumables to negate the Sea Shield debuff, or at least like not completely negate it, but ignore it more. Like some of my what's it called? Some of my I can't think. It's literally like almost 5 AM right now. I can't think. Some of my solos, I definitely have used that before to my benefit, which it's not like a bug when it's been in the game for that long, and it's definitely aware they are changing it, but I'm not sure if yeah, exploitation. Third is such like careless. Alternate weapons are cool. New exaltation dungeon. Sorcery rework, assassin rework. Fun thing about the assassin rework is this will be the first dagger class that does not have 75 speed. But I think if they're making that change, they need to up the attack more. Not to like go into like melee territory, but yeah. Outside of that, forge change is really the only thing I would like to see worked on, but I think the easiest solution is just to buff drop rates. If I'm being honest, maybe if they buff drop rates and implement this and require marks, or at least like one mark, then I think that would be fine. But it's just kind of like shitty all around. Like I definitely do think that they should buff drop rates. Not to like be like 1 out of every 3 dungeons or anything like that, but like I don't know. It just needs to be higher than it is right now, especially shatters, because shatters takes like a half an hour to do. Even with all the speed ups, maybe like 25 minutes, but like it takes a ridiculously long amount of time. Like 03 start to finish takes like 10 minutes. Shatters takes like twice or 3 times as much, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like I need to exalt Kensei. I'm going on a ramble right now, but I need to exalt Kensei, and it Shatters is fucking in my ass right now, because it's just a time sink, dude. It's just so much time. I don't like understand. But yeah, fucking okay, goodbye.